Good morning. We're live on YouTube on the Falcons Podcast. It is Wednesday. We're going to bring in our Facebook and X groups. It's Atlanta Falcons on SI and at Scout Kennedy. And we'll get going today. Again, on YouTube, we're streaming to two formats. So we've got the vertical, the mobile version, which as I'm looking at means I'm like right up in your face, and the landscape. So if you've got one but want the other, there's two streams available on YouTube. So it might look a little different. That's okay. We didn't move anything. We've just added features for you. Welcome in, everybody. This is the Falcons Podcast. It is Wednesday morning ahead of the Falcons trip to the Arizona Cardinals. Falcons have gone 2-2 in Kirk Cousins' 4 starts so far. Does that sound right? They got a chance to go 3-2. Can't believe he's already started that many games. And, people are starting to ask questions. What does this mean? They're winning again. It's amazing to me what a good win can do for the morale, for the perception, and all those things. A couple good games in a row. Look at Kyle Pitts, for example. He's on his 3-game streak. He's about 366 yards, I believe, in the last 3 games. Is the most by any Falcons tight end over a 3-game span. And it starts asking questions. Should Kyle Pitts come back? There's people that are like, I'm already out on Kyle Pitts. This is just, he's finishing strong on a contract year. He hasn't been doing anything. And now the last, 2 months of the season when the Falcons are out of it, now he's going to show up. I get that too. And those are all the kind of things you have to weigh as a general manager when you get into it. So I start asking the question, and that's what this podcast is going to be. And we're going to go back and forth with your questions and answers and see what our viewers think. And our members and everybody see what they think is, what is it? What changes for you? Let's say they win this game. They move to 6. I still can't do the math. There's 3 games left. I hate 17 games. 3 games left. They moved to 6-9 with a chance to go 8-9. I said at the very beginning, 8-9 would be a mark for me where I'm not exactly sure what would happen with this team. 7-10, I think they were gone. And at 8-9, I think it's questionable. At 9-8, I think they're safe. Well, 9-8 has flown the coop, no pun intended. So we know that's not going to happen. But, let's say you do go 8-9 and finish by winning 4 out of your last 6. I think there's a chance that Raheem Morris, Terry Fontenot, the main characters would still be back. But at 7-10, if you still win 3 out of 4 games with the loss to the Rams, what's that going to mean? If Kirk Cousins leads them to that record, and yes, this is, Cousins is 2-2, going to play Arizona, got a chance to go 3-2. There's people questioning, should Kirk Cousins be the quarterback next year? So you don't have to rush Michael Penix along. And we'll get into all those things. But first off, I do want to say, Nick is going to join me. His kid's got the preschool crud again and is not feeling well this morning. So Nick will be joining us this morning. But I do want to say hello to some people that have come in early. C. Doug is one of those on the mobile side of things right now. And remember, if you're just coming in, we are streaming to both mobile and landscape. We got about twice as many views on landscape as we did on mobile on the last time, but we did get over 500 views on mobile. So some people, either you couldn't find the other one or you prefer that one. And we want to have that option for you. C. Doug says, good morning. I hope it don't mean keep everyone. That's for sure. I actually read that backwards. I was like, I don't mean to keep everyone. Now that I read it out loud, I'm like, no. I hope it don't mean keep everyone if they win. And that's during the heat of the game, you almost always find yourself wanting your team to win, even if it's not what's best for you. It's like, you lose this game, you get rewarded, you get a higher draft pick. I don't want to lose this game, though. You want your team to win. It's just instinct. But there's times where you can go, just get blown out and let's just delay and stop delaying the inevitable. If you firmly believe that this is not the right crew, that, losing is going to be what's best for this team moving forward, because otherwise you're delaying the inevitable and you're going to do a repeat of 2019 where they won 6 in a row, 5 out of 6 to close and bring back Dan Quinn, and then they start 0-5 again. That's a repeat I don't want to see. If it's not the right guy, it's not the right guy. Guys on that one. So I'm with you on that. Curtis coming in. Curtis is a dear member. and a super chatter, breaking the ice on super chat. Thank you, Curtis. He says, good morning, Nick, Scott and Nick and Falcons Nation. That's all y'all from Curtis. He says, good morning. What good number 2 quarterback will be on free agency, and what are the chances we have to deal with Zach Robinson again? Now, I've said this all year. I think it was the year, let's see. I think it was just right after Arthur Smith was fired. It was just 2 years ago. At that point, every single offensive coordinator, but it's been within the last 5. There was a 2-year span within the last 5 years that every single offensive coordinator on 32 NFL teams had changed. All of them. All 32. And it might have been just 2 years ago. So the lifespan of an offensive coordinator is 2 years. Either you're good and you get another opportunity to be a head coach, or you fail and you're fired. It's just the way it is. Zach Robinson has failed. So, and his 2 years are up. I will be shocked. And unfortunately, as we get into this, the Atlanta Falcons do a lot of shocking things. They really do. No other team in the NFL would keep Zach Robinson next year. No other team would keep Kirk Cousins on a $57 million contract next year. None of them. None of the 31. But I have my doubts about this Atlanta Falcons team. There's a few times I've said, no way. And there's been a way. No way do you use. They're just posturing. There's no way you give a quarterback $100 million over 2 years and then not draft to win now. No way. Nobody does that. Well, the Falcons did it. No way do they run Jamal Agnew back out there. No way do they run Marquise Williams back out there. The Falcons do. So they do a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. But good number 2 quarterbacks in free agency. I think the one of them that makes a lot of sense to me is Gardner Minshew. We'll get a chance to see him now for the rest of the season with the Chiefs running out, and he's got a chance to earn himself a bunch of money. Gardner Minshew was on $1.2 million. I think that's a veteran minimum. He was on 1.2 with Kansas City this year. And so, you get him for $5 to $7 million and have him back up Michael Penix or spot start here and there. That would make sense to me. Is Trey Lance, is that anybody that makes you? I'd want 2. If I could spend $10 million on backup quarterbacks and I could bring in Trey Lance and Gardner Minshew, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for me. Kenny Pickett is out there. Tyrod Taylor is still out there. Daniel Jones, unfortunately, is out there now. Does he get another big contract? That just sucks that he got his market value, according to Spot Rack, was up to $45 million when he got hurt. And that injury probably just cost him $30 million. It's really unfortunate for him. He was playing really well. Hopefully the Colts take care of him and he comes back strong is what I'm rooting for him. But I posted the other day that they talked about, Marcus Mariota being one of the top backups in the NFL. And I just said that this is an indicator of the state of quarterback play in the NFL right now when Marcus Mariota is one of the top backups. That means he's one of the top 35 quarterbacks in the NFL is Marcus Mariota. When you're bringing Phillip Rivers out of retirement to come play and almost win against a team in the top 5 in the NFL power rankings. I've been saying it for, going on 15, 20 years now that the state of quarterback play is declining rapidly and has declined. And now we're here because all big-armed, big dudes, they play baseball. I mean, not all, obviously not all. But there's 400 guys in the major leagues, let alone in the minor leagues, that can throw 90-plus miles an hour. They're over 6 feet tall. How many of those could have been NFL quarterbacks, those elite type of athletes with those elite arms? They're going that direction now. So baseball, I think, has done more damage to quarterback play than anything. But I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't. For me, it'd be Gardner Minshew would be probably my number 1 target, and then I think Jameis Winston is still out there too. So appreciate you, Curtis. And who else is here now? Is this guy? It's Nick Kendall. So Nick, how's your morning going, my friend?
Hopefully you can't hear the screaming in the background. We have a pretty sick kid here, so was up with him probably 4 times last night and helped with everything. I think he's doing better temperature, everything else cough-wise, but he is pretty upset right now. So hopefully you don't hear too much screaming and crying. Maybe it's you guys in the chat. I don't know. Maybe it's me with having to do a big drive back to Iowa here coming up. But no, yeah, we're doing okay, other than quite tired and bordering on frustrated, just because he's been upset and there's been not much to make him happy, which is like you feel frustrated and helpless in that situation.
I know it's tough. It's tough. You hurt for them. You're like, I'd rather be sick and you be. It's like, let me take it. Can I take it for you? I wish I could. Let's see. Craig Elrod, this is awesome. Craig says, my wife heard your voice and said, I'm starting to think Scott Kennedy is a family member. Well, it is a Falcons family. We are, Greg. We're family. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you have great holidays. So that's awesome. I don't know your wife's name, but hello, Mrs. Elrod. I don't know. My wife's maiden name is still in my phone. That's how much I pay attention to that stuff. We've been married 25 years. It still comes up as Ryan McAllister on her phone on that. So might not be Mrs. Elrod. You don't know, but hello to Greg and your family, and thank you for the super chat, Greg.
Yeah, my wife still has her maiden name too, but she earned the title of doctor, PhD behind it. So God bless her. Go for it. And also her last name is cooler sounding than mine. Like Kendall's, whatever. But hers is Del Vecchio, which is much cooler.
That was a Happy Days character.
Del Vecchio?
One of the Del Vecchios was one of either Happy Days or Laverne and Shirley was a spinoff from Happy Days. So one of those was a Del Vecchio.
Maybe. So, it means the old one in Italian, and she is very much Italian. So
I'll have to look it up. But one of those was like one of the Pink Ladies or somebody was a Del Vecchio coming back from 70s pop culture. Thank you, Greg. Matt Service coming in with he's a member and dropping a super. You rock. He says hire Kubiak, get Joe Burrow, out of wide receiver 2, win. You're not getting Joe Burrow.
With what picks?
You can get Kubiak though.
Yeah.
But you're not getting Joe Burrow. That ain't happening. You're more likely to get their head coach than you are to get Joe Burrow. So,
although are you? Because they have some of the, we'll put it nicely, stingiest ownership in football, and you think that ownership group is going to want to pay for 2 head coaches? They're going to write him out.
No, like I said, it's more likely. I didn't say it was likely.
No, absolutely.
Because there's a 0 chance, and then there's this much chance. I can whatever distance I can rub my finger touch without touching my fingers. That's distance on those. Out of wide receiver 2, win. Yeah, the thing is, as frustrating as it's been, one of the reasons it's been so frustrating, Matt, is because this team's not that far off. If you were even average, like special teams is just kind of homogenous among, unless you've got, every once in a while someone will have just a lights out kicker. But how many kickers are difference makers? I mean, real difference makers in this league. I can't name any. The Cowboys guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's basically like Nick, just don't mess up. Yeah. That's your job as a kicker, unfortunately.
Make the coverage. Yeah.
Name me a kick returner that matters.
Marvin Mims and DK are pretty darn good. And they flip the field a lot.
Two babies out there. And, statistically speaking, they're not that much different than anybody else. It's like, just don't be awful. Mm-hmm. And this team's probably in first place in the NFC South if they just weren't awful at special teams.
Do it. Execute your assignments, right? And hit the makeable. Yeah.
So that's the thing that could be, when we start looking towards next year is, what can be exciting about this, if they redo all this. It's like if you just reach competency in some of the easiest things to be competent at, you're probably in first place in a 7-7 NFC South. 8-6. Does 8-6 look way off on this one? I mean, yeah, there's been a couple of games where they haven't shown up, but there's been 4 games where they've dominated statistically in 8 out of 10 categories just to lose so badly on 2 of the 10 that they lose the games. There's been 4 games like that, at least.
Yeah, and sorry, the little kid's coming upstairs screaming right now, so I'm muting myself sometimes. I don't know what's going on. But
just keep an eye on that blinking button and make sure it's steady red when you start talking again. It's a lot easier when I'm here. When you do that and you're by yourself, and then you get down to the bottom of the chat, you've been talking, muted for 10 minutes. You want to see my forehead break out in beads of sweat in a hurry? It's that kind of embarrassment on that, Matt.
Yeah.
Pinky, speaking, it was Pinky Tuscadero, so it wasn't Del Vecchio, but wasn't that
it was Al. Chris Walker's getting it. Arnold Del Vecchio, Al.
Okay, and wasn't that, I was like, wasn't that like Chachi's? Weren't they related somehow?
I could not tell you.
I know, because he was Fonzie's nephew, but I feel like Al was related into all this. So it was Al. Okay, cool. I knew the Del Vecchio name was out of the Happy Days sphere.
Yeah,
Pinky, this feels like a new name to us. I feel like it is, between the Punisher type of shirt and I had a dream I was playing pool last night, actually. This is kind of weird, Pinky. And now we got Pinky Tuscadero. We're in the Twilight Zone today. It's Happy Days all over the place. Yet the coffee's kicking in. Don't we like playing that game? Here's to the Lion Coffee.
I need it.
Pinky says, meaningless wins cannot be the reason Raheem Morris stays. 19 penalties in the last game, 3 blowouts this season, not addressing Koo, not addressing Marquise Williams, continuing to play Jamal Agnew, the roster mismanagement of guys who have ended up missing the entire season. I mean, I said this on Monday, Nick. We know Zach Harrison missed 2 games, and then he goes and plays, because of the roster mismanagement, he goes and plays a career high in snaps against the Colts because they were short 3 defensive linemen, 2 by choice, and then Sam Roberts gets hurt. So all the defensive linemen played their career highs or their career highs with the Falcons, out being David Onyemata. He's been around a lot longer, but they all played career highs. We never saw Zach Harrison again. Zach Harrison it was then done. After missing 2 games, he plays a career high snaps. That's negligence. That's bad. And if I was president of the team, if this was my team, someone would answer to that. So what happened to Zach Harrison? Why did he play all these snaps? Oh, because we messed up when we were short on defensive linemen. You're fired. You just cost me, arguably, at the time, Zach Harrison was one of the, if not the, best player on defense for this team. Zach Harrison was having a year. 7 games, he's got 4.5 sacks. That was better than anybody. And he was having a year. Cost you one of your top players. All of those things, Pinky, I'm still with you. We're all biased. Bias is a real thing. There's no such thing as non-bias. Bias is what makes up our personalities, our shared experiences, and how we interpret them to then make further decisions. Recency bias does not affect me as much. The whole deal here. If they finished 8-9, I'd be asking the question. I wouldn't definitely say, if they went out and finished 8-9, I'm not definitely saying they're all gone, but I want to know, who can I get? If I've got a top guy out there and I've had my eye on Robert Salah for 10 years, or Mike McCarthy, and I want to know who's becoming available. I do want to know on that. So Pinky, I'm with you on that one. Calder's also a member, and comes in and says, why not Eric Bieniemy? He'd be better than Zach. And I'm going to answer this question with a question, and then, continue on. That's what we do as, podcasters. What has Eric Bieniemy done to get all this love? Nothing. He really hasn't. He didn't call plays. He wasn't the offensive coordinator. He wasn't even the quarterback coach in Kansas City. He was getting coffee for Andy Reid. But other circumstances around it say, this guy's getting screwed. This guy's getting screwed. He needs his chance. Well, he got his chance, and he lasted a year. And I don't even know where he is after 1 year of being an actual offensive coordinator, Nick.
He right now is the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears.
Okay. Well, good. He's back into a winning situation. But Calder, he's only called plays 1 year in his career. He wasn't the quarterback. It's okay. We'd be okay taking guys that hadn't called plays, right? Zach Robinson, Joe Lombardi, Joe Brady, guys, that are coming out from under Sean McVay. Sean Payton, Andy Reid. But he wasn't even the quarterback coach in Kansas City. So I'm not just through osmosis thinking that Eric Bieniemy is qualified. And Nick will always remind us that he's got some pretty bad skeletons in the closet from Colorado that might not jive well with Arthur Blank. But Eric Bieniemy's resume is not good enough, flat out, for that. So I'm not on the Eric Bieniemy train. And to say he'd be better than Zach Robinson, that's a low bar. So you might be right. You still might be right. Yeah. But I don't think that's good enough. I think the Falcons should be shooting higher than Eric Bieniemy. Rusty coming in. Rusty, change your picture, I believe. It was like Brave season. Rusty says 20 point or more losses under Arthur Smith. He had in 3 seasons with the JV squad, he had 6. 20 point or more losses under Ra in less than 2 years with way more talent. He's also had 6. Goodbye. So yeah, the recency bias on this. So I've highlighted the super chats in here, but there's a lot of people in here talking about, and Sam says, I'd take Byron Leftwich before Eric Bieniemy. Me too. Absolutely. I would too. B-Side Rap Reviews, good to see you. He says, if you want a defensive coach, I don't, but bear with me here. Hey, listen, you don't always get what you want. Shula has done a better job as Rams DC than Morris did with Aaron Donald. There's some pretty good defensive coaches out there. I just worry about the turnover. Look at Tampa. You got Todd Bowles out there at 7-7, and they've just collapsed. Meanwhile, his last 2 offensive coordinators are headed to the playoffs, possibly. Jacksonville looks like they're in, and his biggest competition now is in Carolina, and they're playing better than Tampa right now. That's going to be a fun couple of weeks, to see who gets in. That's like you can call those ties. I don't know why they're called ties, where you play head-to-head, home and road, and the winner moves on. They do that in tournament soccer. It's kind of like gonna be like that for the Rams and Panthers. You might have to go on a defensive side of things on this. If LaFleur is done in Green Bay, I'd like to have him if they get rid of him. What are you hearing on that, Nick?
Yeah, he's gonna stay.
Yeah, they're still playing pretty well.
Yeah, and they've lost 2 of their best 3 players on the team for the season. Tucker Kraft looked incredible before his injury, and then you got obviously Micah Parsons, and offensively they're pretty good overall, despite not having a true number wide receiver 1 and having to deal with injuries. So I know there was some talk after the Packers lost to Carolina and some of the weirdness with like the Browns and the Cowboys when they were really flubbing around, but I don't think that seems very likely. Now, granted, everybody's available for the right price, right? So like a trade, but I don't think Atlanta's in a position for a trade. So we're keeping an eye on LaFleur. We're keeping an eye on any of those head coaches, maybe Sean McDermott, guys who have been program builders just for some stability coming in. Granted, I'm not the biggest, Sean McDermott, banging the drum considering what he's had, but it doesn't look like a very good crop in general. Your top coaches are, as you mentioned, Robert Saleh, probably Vance Joseph as well. And then after that, you got questions galore on the offensive-minded head coaches. There's not really the resumes built up that we've seen recently for some of these guys. So if you are offensive coach, you have to kind of go in and be like, well, this could either go great or it could blow up tremendously. And it always kind of can, but I think there's just a lot more volatility. You're inviting who was the offensive coordinator for Houston a couple years ago that was the bee's knees for 1 year and then the worst in the entire NFL the next year's fired?
Slowick.
Yeah, you're kind of talking about
it was Slowick with his rookie, with CJ Stroud's rookie season, was getting head coaching interviews, and then 6 months later he's fired.
Exactly. That's the pool you're probably dealing with as far as, again, volatility and a variance of outcomes for the offensive guys out there, because it's just not a crew with a lot of skins on the wall, if you will.
Because I don't watch them a ton, Nick, I get the Titans and Texans mixed up in my head. AFC South, the Titans Houston were the Texans, before. That's where they moved from. I get them mixed up in my head every once in a while. So you say Houston, I'm like, Texans, not Titans, and that was Slowick. I'm like, the Titans have been a disaster for several years now.
Yeah. The one name we haven't tossed out there, Scott, that I did want to toss out, and it was a good call for Shula as well. I just don't know if you could sell the fans another Rams defensive coordinator coming in. But, I mean, at the end of the day, get the best guy. I think the name is Pritzker. Maybe I'm missing it up here, but he was the offensive line coach for the Cardinals. And I don't know if you've seen, I talk about an irrelevant team, but the Cardinals offensive line has flipped tremendously.
Then they should hire him.
What was
then
that?
The Cardinals should, because they're going to fire.
Well, no, so he actually was poached by the Cowboys, and now he's the Cowboys offensive line coach and helping a lot with Schottenheimer out there. And I think what the Cowboys are doing is, I mean, have you seen what their run game efficiency has been this year, despite, their running back being Javonte Williams coming off the knee injury, and some of the pass game? I mean, Dak Prescott finally having some easy buttons. He's somebody who I would bring in for an interview, because I think this is still an offensive line-driven team, protecting Michael Penix and running the ball more efficiently than they have. So somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Cowboys offensive line coach, big fan of what he's done. And I know that he has some fans in the league as well. So I wanted to just put him in your minds.
Alberto says, Scott, not to be negative, but if we want them to keep winning games, and that means we want Raheem to stay. Even though we want to succeed with this franchise, change it next year. And again, like I said, and there will be fans say, you're not a real fan if you ever root against your team. That's BS. You can be rewarded for losing in this league, and, this isn't like recruiting where, college football, where they actually punish losers. You don't get a bowl game, your recruiting goes down the drain. This is, you are rewarded for losing in this league. And, if you are all out on Raheem Morris and his staff, then you don't necessarily want there to be any questions. It's like, okay, they got a couple, the false dawn against a Tampa Bay team that's circling down the drain, against a New Orleans team that is in rebuilding mode, a win, against Arizona, who is tanking for a higher draft pick. And then, the Rams might have a playoff position. They're seating locked up when you play them. You never know. And then, a dead rubber game that will mean absolutely nothing for the Saints to finish. You win all those, you're like, yeah, great. You started playing when it didn't matter. That was, y'all remember Adam LaRoche, first baseman for the Atlanta Braves? Oh, yeah. When they were 20 games out, he was really good. If the game meant anything, he was really bad. I have those questions about Kyle Pitts right now, too. And as Big Buck, and thank you for being a member, Big Buck, he says, he's talking about Kyle Pitts. I have this question about Kyle Pitts right now, too. It's like, and I tell my son this. You get into games where you're getting blown out or you're blowing somebody out, I'll tell him as he's going to bat. I'm like, dude, stat pad. It doesn't matter if you're down 11-0. Get your numbers, because they show up on the back of your baseball card. Stat pad. Mm-hmm. Pitts look real good in the preseason. We should tag him. But, Scott, ever since we got back under center, the offense is far more effective, especially red zone and third down percentage. You heard me, Nick. You remember me raving about how Kyle Pitts looked physically this in the preseason. And when he catches the ball in stride, it is absolutely a thing of beauty. It's like, yes, that's
like
what
athletes.
I'm looking for. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's only happened like 6 times in 5 years, and when 4 of them were in the last game. I'm with you there on this, Big Buck. I did the numbers. It's the tag, according to Over the Cap, is $15.9 million, 1 year guaranteed. The average of the top 10 tight ends, the average salary across the top 10 tight ends is something like 14.3. The difference between 14.3 and 15.9 is negligible to me. And considering, even if you don't think Pitts he's not who he's supposed to be, he's a bust of a number 4 pick, he's a top 10 tight end in this league. And the average is 14.2. So why not tag him? Even if you're out on Kyle Pitts, I think he's just putting up numbers. He's at the end of a season when it doesn't matter, when Drake's back, he won't see the ball again because he doesn't work hard enough. He pouts, he's lazy. All of those things that if you think that's true, you tag him anyway. You tag him and trade him. You tag him and trade him. He is now an appreciating asset instead of, I can't get anything for Kyle Pitts. And this is what we said at the beginning of the year, Nick. 1 year, don't trade him for zero. Take the risk that you can get something for him with a tag after a decent season, and then you might be able to get something in return, even if you don't want him.
He's in a game where you're looking for matchup weapons and athletes. He's still going to be valuable, and it's really not looking like a very interesting free agency class. That appears to be maybe the norm going forward, considering how much money these teams have and how they can manipulate the salary cap with void years and everything like that. Like, everybody has cash now, so every team is able to pretty much keep their valuable second contract assets specifically. So with him being a tight end, now I'll be curious if they go to like an arbiter and try to say that he's a wide receiver rather than a tight end, that Jimmy Graham route. Now, granted, there's precedent saying that that's too bad. Let's knock that off. Come on, man. Gross dog. No, I definitely am with you as far as the tag option. And I saw a stat on our tweet, so I tried to check it out real quick, but Kyle Pitts is about the same age as Travis Kelce was when he caught his first pass in the NFL. Like, tight ends take time overall. So the fact that the tag is not expensive, you're going to have cash to throw around. You might have a new offensive coordinator as well. So that is something that I would be interested in.
Yeah, $15 million isn't that much in the grand scheme of things for a starter for a tight end. So I am absolutely on the tag Kyle Pitts train right now.
And what's the trade assets? Let's say you do tag him and somebody calls and offers you a second round pick. I mean, I probably
second round pick, and then we're going to raise or lower based on how much of that 15.9 they're willing to take on.
I don't know if you are able to shed the cap on a tag.
Yeah, it's guaranteed salary is all it is.
I just wasn't sure if it was guaranteed on the team that
No, it's not dead money because you haven't paid it in the form of a bonus. So if you haven't paid it yet, the 15.9 of guaranteed salary would go with him, depending on how much you decide. It's all negotiable.
Okay.
It's all negotiable. So I think someone willing to trade for him would be willing to pay 15.9 on a 1-year deal, but they would want to rework his deal anyway. So it'd be a tag and trade. And if you said $15.9 million in the third round pick, I might take it, but I'd also say I want a fifth also, or give me a fourth in 2027 also. I would try and get a little more, but I'd be real interested, depending on where that third is. You know, if it's 99, that's one thing. If it's 70, that's another. And a third and $16 million off of my books that I can go spend somewhere else, because you're going to have to replace them then too. You know, so if you're going to try and replace them, it's going to cost you to at least a third round pick is decent for a tight end. You know, you can get a good tight end in the third round, but you're going to have to replace them also. So you have to factor that in. So second rounder and 15.9, and I'm doing that deal.
We'll see if somebody be willing to pay it, but it does look pretty thin in the market at tight end and just in general, second contract players. So we'll see. But yeah, right now it makes sense to tag him. And a good comment from Derek Hart also, like, if you are just tagging him, wouldn't you just toss him some money? It takes two to tango. Maybe he'd want that 33 to 36 million. That's very certainly possible. If I were him, given what his age and everything and the guarantee to the franchise tag, I probably would still want to hit the market rather than signing something that's just for 11 million a year. I mean, I think that, he's probably betting on himself, and you're probably talking 20 million a year. And it's kind of
the tag is a guaranteed 1-year deal. Anything more than that, I don't want to go no one's going to sign him to more than that. I mean, people will. The Falcons, I don't want the Falcons to sign him to more than that. Mm-hmm. So I think if he hit the open market, he'd probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years,
18,
$45 million, 2 years, 32 guaranteed. I don't want him on a multi-year guaranteed contract.
I think, Scott, just given where the tight ends are at in this league, I think you're talking teams are looking for playmakers. It's not, going to be a good free agency class. Some teams have money, especially these teams with these young quarterbacks, like desperate to make sure that quarterback's right. I think you're probably talking about 18 million a year for him, because like right now it drops off tremendously. George Kittle's making 19, Trey McBride's making 19. Then you got Travis Kelce at 17, TJ Hawkinson at 16, David Njoku at 13, Mark Andrews at 13. These are guys that are older and not sold as ascending assets, and also not hitting the market where there's a bidding war. So I think
maybe I want a little more than a second round pick, but I don't want to be the guy that is tied to him for multiple years right now. Do it again. Do it again. Go get 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns again, and I'll pay you.
And I'm with you. I just think if he did hit the open market, there would be demand.
So, and the thing is, and people say, well, he might not want to play on that. Okay, fine. Then we trade. That's it. That's the tag and trade. But now you've got options. That's what we said at the beginning. You would have gotten a day 3 pick and $5 million for Kyle Pitts coming into this season, which was wasteful. You were better off rolling the dice on $11 million that he was getting paid this year on his 5th-year option. You were better off rolling the dice that he would appreciate as an asset. And he has. He absolutely has. Now you've got something to deal or, sign. But I don't want him. I don't want to write the headline, Kyle Pitts agrees to massive new deal with Atlanta Falcons. And I don't want to write that deal in the next 6 months. It would be the next 4 months. So we'll know beginning of March. We're 3 months away from finding out for sure, because that's when free agency starts. I don't want to write that headline. Falcons pick up they'll have to franchise tag him first. But then you've got, I guess, up until about the draft to really make a trade for him. Then to trade him, then wouldn't you?
I mean, you could do it after the draft comes and goes and still get assets. It really also depends on if it's a new regime in here. They might be a little bit more willing to slow play it versus Morrison Fontenot, where they need assets now. But yeah, it'll be interesting to follow. I'm with you. I think it's a pretty much a no-brainer decision to tag him. If he sits out, he's leaving a lot of guaranteed money on the field as well. So we'll see how it plays out for him. And the one thing that's tough for this Falcons team is that you do have some big contracts, offensive weapons coming down the tracks as well. And you should have the ability to pay it, but is that really the formula you want to follow here? A tight end, a running back, and a wide receiver all making top 5 money for their position. We'll see. I mean, Drake London's going to be making, oh God, what is even the wide receiver market? It's probably something absolutely insane. He'll be making
He'll get 3 years, $100 million guaranteed on a 5-year deal.
He'll be getting at least $35 million per. Like there's a big jump up to Jamar Chase. But looking at it, the 35 mark is Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson. I mean, he's going to be making $35 million a year.
That's not going down. No. The numbers aren't going down. Austin coming in. He says, I think winning out and finishing 8-9, there's a chance the Falcons rework Kirk's deal to go for it next year. Kirk lights it up, then there are some tough decisions to make. All right. To rework Kirk's deal, Kirk has to agree to that. So it's not just one or the other. So there'll be $90 million left on his deal, is what I was just looking up. If he were to come back in 2026 and 2027, there's $90 million left on that deal. He's going to want that $90 million. So, do you want to push his money? You could be free and clear of him in 2026. Or if you work an extension, he's not going to want to go down. He's not going to take a pay cut to stay in Atlanta. Man's never taken a pay cut anywhere. And he hasn't exactly been treated, other than the big paycheck, honestly, in Atlanta. He's going to want to go somewhere else, I would imagine, especially when they know that Michael Penix is a starter if and when he comes back. Well, he's a good insurance party. Not at $57 million, he's not. Yeah. And I think he's going to want a chance. He's playing for a chance to start for when the Falcons cut him. Be 38. If I can get another contract, $25-30 million, Falcons aren't going to want to pay him. What's his guaranteed money? His salary next year is $35 million, and he's got a $10 million roster bonus. So it would cost $45 million in more cash to Kirk Cousins if he is on this roster next year. Do you think Arthur Blank, he might. No other sane team in the NFL is going to put another $45 million in Kirk Cousins' bank account next year. And Kirk's not going to renegotiate a contract that pays him less to stay in Atlanta. He'll cut me loose. I'm not reworking my contract to take a pay cut. Cut me, Mick. Cut me.
I mean, there's avenues still where you can add void years and spread the cap, and
now I've got Kirk Cousins on my cap until 2030.
Yeah,
literally, it's not that far away.
I know. I don't even know how much that matters anymore. If you have an owner with cash available,
it mattered to the Falcons this offseason, and they've got cash, and they were broke.
There was still ways they could maneuver if they were in their window. I do believe that, following the Howie Roseman team or the Rams. I mean, these teams that have been able to manipulate the cap. Hopefully in the next collective bargaining agreement, we can get rid of some of this void year nonsense and the poison pills and all of that, because it's just it's the salary cap. And it does exist to a certain extent, but you can kind of move things around. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, it's not going to take less, but maybe there's ways to change the contract or put in some performance bonuses where he can earn it back to keep him around. Personally, I'm with you as far as let's see who's available out there. Unfortunately, a lot of the interesting backup quarterbacks this cycle signed multi-year contracts. But the other, what do you call it? The elephant in the room, Scott, I guess, is that with a new regime, new head coach coming in, I mean, who knows who their guy is, right? I know you have Penix here, but if you're bringing a new GM and head coach, they're not married to making that work. And I don't think you can sell the position of the head coach on this team to be you have to make this quarterback work. And granted, it's obviously a huge bonus, but you don't want to have a guy handcuffed to that. So it's a weird position for the Falcons with the injury and maybe a new regime.
I think it'll be very similar to Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Give it 1 year. We're tied to them financially for 1 year, where it's astronomical to try and make this cut. And then after a year, do what you need to do. And they took on an $85 million dead cap hit, and are with an $85 million dead cap hit spread across 2 seasons. They are 22-9. That's astounding. That's with a record cap. So it can be done.
Yeah.
But I think just based on the fact that you're not going to have a high dollar free agent that's going to warrant. We signed Aaron Rodgers for $50 million. He's starting. It's not going to be like that. Kirk Cousins. We signed Kirk Cousins $50 million a season. He's starting till he's not. It's not going to be like that. And then you're not going to have a first round pick. So even if you use your second round pick on a quarterback, that's still not okay. We're going to have to start. We have to start this guy. No. So I think Michael Penix is your quarterback. What does a good finish mean for Kirk Cousins? It means he's playing his way into a starting role for somebody else in 2026 to get a chance to do that. And it would be absolutely asinine for this Falcons team to carry him on his contract at $57 million for 2026, and he ain't renegotiating. He ain't taking less money. No way.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to get less money if there's more guarantees in it long term and reworking the deal, but you're talking about spreading it out even more. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Talking about maybe teams that are interested in Kirk Cousins.
Talking about who might do something that's stupid.
Oh, I mean,
the Browns and Jets might be that stupid.
I think I like Darren Muge, the general manager for the Jets now. I think their moves have made some sense for them. And shout out to Nate Tice. Him and Dane Brugler did a podcast covering the college football playoffs from an NFL draft perspective. And Tice put it out there that the Jets are absolutely infatuated with Mendoza. So we'll see. Maybe they've won too many games, I think, to earn the right to pick Mendoza. They'd have to trade up, but Lord knows they have the assets to do so. So where are the Jets right now? Jets are picking 5. They better hope like heck that the Giants stick there at number 1, because if Vegas or Cleveland are picking up there 1 and 2, they're not going to have the ability to get up. But right now, the way this draft is set up, Scott, quarterbacks are going to go 1-2, even if they're not it's not Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels, but the rest of this class, there isn't a superstar premium position player.
Cam went number 1. I don't even remember his name. What's Cam's name?
Cam
Ward went number 1. He's okay.
I mean, some of the throws are pretty good on tape, but I'm with you.
Well, it should be. He's a number 1 overall pick, but he's again, if we put up like numbers, like Madden ratings, he's not the highest rated guy.
No.
The most talented player coming in out of the draft. He's just the quarterback, and it's a quarterback league. Did you see, Nick? I posted. You think it's a quarterback's league or not? Let me get the numbers right. I mean, I've got it. Just take me a second to look up. As far as this being a QB league, was the record of the teams last week based on passer rating. Let me see. It was this week in the NFL, the top 10 passer ratings, the quarterbacks with the highest passer rating, the top 10, they were 10-0. The bottom 8 were 0-8. I mean, it's a passing league without a doubt. Share the Lights 5190 says, is that like the neighbor of 5150? Wasn't that the first Van Halen with Sammy Hagar album, 5150? Anyway.
You'd have to ask somebody else.
When do you think Arthur will get rid of Rich McKay? I don't. I'm hoping that he gets moved off of any football and goes to football. Let him go to Atlanta United and continuing to flush them down the drain. I don't think he would just flat out fire him like he did Dimitrov. He's in too many different things that it just seems like they're married for life. So I don't think he's getting rid of McKay. Hopefully the next time, and there is a next, whether you think it's this week or next, coaches get fired. I mean, no coach has ever left the Atlanta Falcons except Bobby Petrino on his own without getting fired. So when it happens, if I see Rich McKay and Arthur Blank hamming it up again out there, talking about how great a job they've done with their coaching hires, I will go scorched earth on this franchise. I will go scorched earth. My platform's gotten to a decent size. I will go scorched earth on them if I see a replay of that press conference when they fired Arthur Smith, of Arthur Blank and Rich McKay up there, buddying it, hamming it up, telling us what a great job they've done. Scorched freaking earth.
Understandably so.
I will put the 18 mark on there, 18 plus on there, and this vein in my forehead will come out like Frankenstein.
Can we do like some AI and do the two towers, worm tongue behind Arthur Blank as the King Theoden? Not to be too nerdy. I don't know if you're a Lord of the Rings guy, Scott. Maybe you can make the heavy metal references. I'll make the nerdy Lord of the Rings references.
No, I was reading Lord of the Rings before you were born, dude.
Okay. Probably one of my favorite gifts I ever got was the red leather-bound Lord of the Rings trilogy from my grandparents.
The Two Towers was my favorite of the trilogy.
Oh. God, did you see they're bringing all the extended editions back to the theaters?
No. And they did a great job with that. They didn't need to make 3 movies out of The Hobbit, though. That was a cash grab.
That was dumb.
Yep. Let's see here. We're talking about Penix and stuff. So, again, what would it mean for Kirk Cousins? Going back to the title of the show, Kirk Cousins, if they win out and he plays well, or even finishes winning 2 out of the next 3, and he finished with the winning record as a starter since he took over. Let's flush the Miami game. I think it will mean that Kirk Cousins has a market in free agency. Mm-hmm. The Falcons would be just absolutely boneheaded to bring him back on a $57 million cap hit, which would be like number 2 in the NFL. Boneheaded. And Kirk Cousins isn't going to restructure his deal to be more friendly to the Atlanta Falcons. Not going to happen. What's it mean for Raheem Morris? They go 7-10 and finish, 4-2 to close things out. We'll see. Yeah. Marquise Williams, I think he's toast. Special teams coach, he's got to be gone. Yeah. Zach Robinson, I think he is gone. And then what's it mean for the Atlanta Falcons? Questions. But got to go win in Arizona first. Arizona doesn't want to win this game, as a franchise. The players do. Players want to play. And if you give them hope, and if they take a lead and you play like crap and you kick the ball around, they're going to want to win. You're going to find yourself in a game. You get up early, they'll fold shop. They'll fold up. Falcons want to win this game. They got nothing to lose by winning. They want to win. There's a lot of people out there playing for jobs. They want to win. They lose this game, it's done. We know what's happened. So what's it mean? Definitely. But we're right now, I think we're looking at most likely a 7-10 record at best, losing to the Rams. And if you beat Arizona and you beat New Orleans, 7-10, you lose either one of those, you're 6-11. I feel like the decision's already been made, Nick, though. I think there's change coming. And unless it's 8-9, there's change coming.
Rightfully so. Right. I mean, just like you kind of made your bed and the results have not been good enough for who you are, and especially the opportunity you have. I mean, not to, beat that dead horse, but the NFC South has been the worst division in football the last 3 years, and you have 6 games against them, and you are not winning enough games. And as the chat said early on in the show, the point differential too, which matters. I mean, there's some games where you might as well not even get off the bus, though, the way they're playing, completely unprepared. I don't know if it's, schematically or emotionally, physically, but yeah, it would take a act of God or blackmail for me to be all in on this group. And I mean, I guess if you really went out hot at the end, it kind of makes a weird situation because it's going to be on Kirk Cousins' play, but maybe there's a push from the locker room to have the group come back. But even still, I mean, the results are the results. If he was the guy, especially having seen what having the coach looks like from a Denver perspective, I think he'd probably know. So we'll see what happens here. Like you said, 8-9, winning out, how they play can change the perspective. But for now, I just think there's too much bad football and misdirection in terms of philosophy, identity. It just doesn't feel cohesive, coordinated, calculated for this team in general.
Trini Boy, thanks for being a member. Be like Trini Boy. You can, in the description or anywhere you're watching on YouTube, there's a join button. Become a member. Give it a try. You don't like it, you don't think it's worth it, you can cancel it. Give it a shot. It helps support the show, and I do provide members-only videos as well. So there is extra content for you as a member. And Trini Boy is a member. It shows up here as like a token, but that's why you get the bird in the chat on YouTube.
You're giving him the bird.
It's the bird, the finger. Old Top Gun reference. Yes, Goose, I'm familiar. I don't think winning against the Cardinals and Saints will save Raheem. That would be 7-10. I think it will frustrate Blank because he could have been games that secured a playoff spot. I agree. It's kind of how we felt about the Tampa game. You're like, and then watching, you beat Tampa, so they lost. And then watching Carolina lose again, it's like they're 7-7. You're eliminated from playoffs in week 14 when your leader is 7-7? Really? And again, going back to, a point Rusty made and that you reiterated, I'm going to reiterate, there's just times where they come out and they just look completely unprepared, and just cannot. That's unacceptable at this level. The Carolina Panthers game was Carolina Panthers game 30-0. There's no excuse for that. And that's nothing against Carolina. I'd say that against week 3, any team against any team. Getting beat by 30 in the NFL is unacceptable, especially one that was 0-2 and had gotten blown out the previous 2 weeks. And you're just coming off a big win. I mean, that was unacceptable. The Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, can't believe he wasn't fired going into that game. Blown out. I think it was 34-3. Blown out. It's unacceptable. So I'm still on, and we'll spend an offseason. We'll be talking about, I want to spend the offseason talking about the reasons why I think this team can be better. Special teams, new offensive coordinator, so a couple additions in free agency.
Young
pass. If they bring back this staff, Nick, it's going to be a tough sell. Mm-hmm. It will be.
Yeah, it will be. Don't look now, though, but the Falcons have the second most sacks in the NFL this season. So shout out to them for that. And we'll see what the offseason brings. As far as what the pick you're doing, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, the media won't admit it because Falcons right now are an afterthought, deservedly so, probably given their play on the field. No offense, guys. But the trade for JPJ, I mean, he's going top 10 in this class, probably. Now, granted, he fell because of, some maturity questions, I guess. Not like a bad person, just like trying to figure out like who he is, what makes him tick, from my understanding. But this class in general, not great unless you're getting one of those quarterbacks at the top. And even then, it's like the top guys are talking about Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Keldrick Falk, Jeremiah Love. I mean, this is It's not a good class at the top, Scott. It just is not. So good year to not have your top pick. I mean, you'd rather have it, of course, young, cost-controlled, potential building block. But as far as like first-round grades, I don't know. Heck, top 10 grades. There might not be a single true top 10 grade player in this class. Like, honestly,
if like by some weird loophole rule, James Pierce Jr. was thrown back into the drafts, like, okay, he played ineligible. He's not allowed to play. We're going to take him out, and we're going to make him draft eligible for 2026 after the 2025 season he's had. He's going top 5. So it's like, so be it. He's going top 5. They got their value for that pick, and I'm happy to say that. And again, that wasn't the issue for me to begin with. The issue for me to begin with is a first and a third is not a gross overpay for a first and a second. It just wasn't. That was a decent value trade for both teams.
And my issue
going in. So I'm not grading in hindsight. I said it at the time, and then I said, now let's see how it plays. I don't know how it's going to play out. But that was my take on that trade when it happened. Players be damned.
Yeah. And
the math in it was just not that big a deal. B-side rap, and then I'm going to hit 2 things, and we're going to get out of here. B-side says, the hard thing about being a Falcons fan, it doesn't feel that winning is the most important thing for the front office and the coaching staff. Culture. Do you remember? I'll never forget Dean Pease coming in and saying, they've been a top 10 offense, once in their career. That he said that bleep is going to change. We got to change that culture around here. And talking about the sacks, I owe Rio another super chat. Rio, I saw you come in right as we were signing off. That reminded me, so thank you. But talking about the sacks, they had 42 with Ryan Nielsen when he was, pretty blitz happy in 2023. In 2024, they had 31. In 2022, they had 21. In 2021, it was 18, 29, 38, 37, 39. So basically in the last 6 years, 5 of the last 6 years, if you were to take any 2 seasons, the Falcons will have more sacks this year. It's been a remarkable turnaround. It has. And now we just need to get a little bit better on the back end of things. Cornerbacks, depth at linebacker. And then you can be a little less high risk, high reward. Start turning loose those edge rushers with rushing 4 and dropping 7 and be better in coverage. Now you've got the kind of defense you want. Now you've got the kind of defense that can really affect things. And Rio, then we're going to get going. He says, imagine what it could have been and we beat the Jets and Panthers. Oh, well, y'all think Kyle reaches 950 yards this year? And how many Pro Bowlers? Lots in there. Kyle needs 50 yards a game for the next 3 to hit 950. So, yes, I think he does. I don't know how effective Drake's going to be. Kyle needs 30 targets over the next 3 games. Kyle Pitts needs 30 targets. He catches 20 to 200 yards. Pretty easy. That'd be 997. I think that's how that works out. I think he breaks 1,000. Spam him. Spam him. Run his value through the roof. You've got a fixed franchise tag that you can use on him if you need to. So his salary is set. And then how many Pro Bowlers? 1 for sure. I would say Bijan is the 1 for sure after that. And maybe, what if they give it to one of the Detroit guys in Saquon? I'm not even sure.
Saquon's not been good enough this year. It's your battle for first team All Pro running back. Well, I still don't think I wouldn't put McCaffrey there either. It would be the guy that you're battling is Jonathan Taylor, obviously, how the season he's had, and then Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, Pro Bowls though, because do they do Pro Bowls by conference still? I don't even know how they do it anymore. I
don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, so you're talking it's still a popularity vote. So you're going against Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan. That's 4 right off the top of my head.
Jonathan Taylor also has to be up there.
But Bijan should absolutely get it. And it'll cost the Falcons another $4 million on his 5th-year option. So pay the man. But it will. That's one of the factors in 5th-year options is Pro Bowls. And a singular Pro Bowl will be worth $4 million to him on his 5th-year option. On that note, let me say thank you to Rio. And I'm sorry I missed you coming in. I appreciate you coming back. I saw that right as we went off. I'm like, shucks. I miss Rio. Thank you for the support, my friend.
And I have the voting here right now. Robinson's 4th in Pro Bowl voting, with McCaffrey number 1, number 2 being Gibbs, Our number 2 being Taylor, number 3 being Gibbs, and then you have Robinson.
So he's third in the NFC.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
But I don't think it's
I haven't seen what Saquon's actually done this year. I haven't really even paid attention.
It's not been good.
Because I don't play fantasy football, y'all. It's too stressful for me. It's like the last time I was in it, I won the league. I'm like, I'm out. I don't enjoy this. I was like, you ever seen Nick Saban coach a game? Does he look happy? Well, he makes $10 million. I don't. I don't enjoy this. Greg, thank you so much to you and your family. Curtis, to you as well for the super. Matt as well for being a super and a member, just like Curtis. Pinky, Calder on. Another member. Appreciate you, Rusty. And then Rio coming in at the last minute. But we're going to get out of here. Programming note.
I'm coming in.
We will be doing a gut reaction on Sunday, immediately after the game. It's a 4:00 game, so it'll be later. We will not have the Monday show, though. So we'll do the gut on Sunday. We will not do Monday. But on that note, we're going to get out of here. Supposed to get up to almost 60 degrees today, so enjoy warming up a little bit. Get outside. And I'm planning on doing that myself. That's all we got for you, Nick. Any last words?
Always fun. Excited for draft content to come around because you guys don't have a top 10 pick. Obviously, it feels a little bit less, but this is a class. I think you got some value day 2. Unfortunately, Scott, I think your guy that you are really excited about is going to be going in the top 20 because of the talent of this class in Caden McDonald, just given how he moves and how he discards offensive linemen. I think he's going to go top 20 in this class, but there's still going to be talent to be had, especially at wide receiver. We'll see about cornerback. I don't think offensive tackle is good, but wide receiver, defensive tackle, cornerback, there's some talent to be had. So excited to start digging into those guys and peeling back that off-season onion with you, if you will.
Wednesday is Christmas Eve. I'm planning on doing Christmas Eve. That's a work day. I mean, they're all work days, but I plan on doing here Wednesday. I'm not gonna commit for him, but since I'm not doing Monday, I'll be here Wednesday. Yeah, so we'll be there, Sammy. So y'all have a great rest of your week. Thank y'all for being here, and we will see you next time.